In this session, we are basically going to talk about different domains, different paths, different sessions, different sections in which you can do career, in which you can start your career in gaming industry. And I'm going to talk about the broad categories. Hi Palak, hi K. I'm just going to talk about broad categories. There are a lot of subcategories into these broad categories where you can grow as a professional in the industry, but overall there are just the four main categories where you can do your career in gaming. So we're going to talk about that in a while. We'll just wait for a few more minutes, and then we can probably kickstart this session. Hi Raju. Hello. Hello. Okay, guys, let's start. Let's start. I hope the audio is clear. Is this a Q&A? Yes, Ankit. You can ask questions. I'll definitely answer. Hi, Jay Kumar. Hello, Sujit. Yeah. So let's start with the basics. So, like I said, in this session, we are going to talk mainly about the career path, the domains in which you can pursue your career, right? In gaming industry, like right now gaming in India is it's a huge career option. The industry has grown from zero, literally in 25 years it's grown from zero, and it has already overtaken the music uh, industry, the movie and the music industry globally. But in India it's still quite, there's like a couple of more years where it will be the number one industry overall. But compared to what it was, say around 6 7 years back, it's it's already. Oh, just a second. Just want to check a few technicalities before we begin. We can hear you, sir. Raju. Yes, I can hear you. Okay, great. And I hope you can see the video as well. Okay, cool. So we have got a heads up that we are live and we can't see your screen. Oh, you guys are watching me on YouTube. Probably that is why you are not able to see it. Come to Crater.Club live streams 979. I don't know what the link is. But yeah, guys, let's start. Let's start. Like I said, there are multiple domains in which you can do your career in gaming industry. And in today's session, I'm going to talk about four broad categories. Now, the since the industry has grown so much, we know a lot of people who want to get into the industry now. 10 years back, getting into gaming industry was one of the biggest. It was like uh, gaming was treated like a taboo, wherein people were not really the people didn't take gaming as a career option, right? If you're interested in gaming, that means you were wasting your time, right? That was the kind of a thought process that people had. Even parents didn't allow students to experiment with that. But at this stage, gaming is one of the biggest thing. It's one of the hottest industry. And if um, anybody that you know, or probably you want to get into the gaming industry, the very first step that you need to do is you need to figure out your skill set. Right now, you can't just say that I want to be a game developer and you just start learning everything. start learning 3D tools, digital tools, Photoshop, Maya, 3D Max. At one side, you're also doing the programming stuff. You're also learning how to code games on YouTube or Udemy or Coursera. On the other hand, you call yourself a game designer because you're just writing the characters and you're just figuring out what the story of the game is. Um, if you see, these are all different skill set. If you see, these are all different domains. If you choose your career, you can't become everything. You just need to focus on one skill, one domain. So in gaming, broadly, like I mentioned, there are four categories. uh, Before getting into the industry, you need to identify your skill which suits that category. This is the biggest task that people never do. They just find any gaming institute or a gaming course and they just spend a lot of money and do courses on that side, right? So that's not what you have to do. What you need to do is you need to figure out your skill. Like, how do you do that? To start with, you need to first understand what you are good at. Now, if you say you are good at drawing, if you love 3D art, if you love painting, if you love anything that you do on Photoshop or digital tools, you probably are a game artist. You don't have to focus on programming or coding games. You're probably a game artist. If you love visualization, if you love writing about stuff, if you love documenting stuff, if you love about creating unique worlds and creating characters and their backstories, and also creating logical problem you solving logical problems, creating logics, um, then you are probably a game designer. If you love programming, if you love languages, programming languages, if you love C sharp, Java, probably you are a game programmer, right? And if you just love playing games, but you still don't want to pursue develop your skills in any of the three categories that I mentioned, you probably are a game tester. You probably want to pursue your career as a game tester. So that's what you need to figure out first. What is it that you are good at? What is it that you can do for the rest of your life? It shouldn't be the case that you're doing you got into programming, you got into game programming out of luck, and then you don't really feel like or interested in doing game programming for in the second year, in the third year of your career, right? It shouldn't happen. So for that, you need to first understand what is it that you are good at, right? When you identify your skill, then you need to focus on only that particular domain, right? In the previous session, I mentioned about all these sectors. I'll again do that as a brief introduction to all the four categories. To start with, the first one is game design. Game design is where you write games, right? Where you create documentations, where you create a game bible, which we call as a GDD, game design document, right? You only write about the game, you only write about the problem, you only write about the characters, the backstories, and everything about the game which is not yet been made. It's just a thought that has come to you and you're just writing it on paper. The second domain is game art, wherein you learn, you do create artwork. You create, if it's a 3D game, you create 3D models and create animations on that models, texture on the 3D models. If you're a if you're doing Photoshop, if you're making 2D artwork, you are probably a game artist, right? The third one is the game programming, where you love programming. In game programming, you actually code the game. You take the artwork that the artist has created and you create and you code the game using those artworks. So the artist will only give you a sprite, an animation of a character walking. You need to figure out where you need to code it in a such a way that people can press a key and then the animation plays and the character moves, all that stuff. The fourth category is game testing, right? So game testing, you obviously know, people test games throughout continuously. They play that game and figure out if there are any issues in the game. So four main categories: game design, game art, game programming, and game testing. as a aspiring game developer is a broad category. It's a broad category where you can fit in any of these four domains, and you can and see, game developer is like a is a superset, and these four domains are the subset of that, right? So you need to, as a game developer, you just need to figure out which domain you belong to. Now let's say if you want to become a game programmer, right? Let's directly jump to a game program. Before that, let me just take a few questions. Is this right time to start game development in Unity, or should we try learning about AR and VR because of metaverse and all? Um, you should probably start with Unity. Unity is the basic. It's a free tool, and it's very easy to code games on Unity. AR and VR is just a category. You can code those games on Unity itself. But even if you just try to create AR and VR games, there are different platforms and tools that you can use to create that. But still, Unity is one of the best that you can use. So start with the basics of Unity, start learning Unity, and then probably figure out, right? When will the IGDC certificate be? I'm not sure about it, brother. You need to connect with the IGDC core team. Um, did programmers have most of work inside a smaller company compared to big companies who had made many more people to work on? To be honest, everybody has a lot of work in a smaller company. In a smaller company, you just don't do one specific kind of a job, right? Even like if you're a game programmer, you also need to look at the other technical aspects, the IT infrastructure, the network, the server side of it, everything, right? But nobody expects a programmer to do the artist's job, right? Unless you are interested in, or probably you should not jump from domain to domain. If you are a game programmer, probably you will do end up doing multiple things in the programming side, in the tech side of it, um, within the smaller company. If you are an artist, probably you'll do 2D, you'll do 3D, you'll do animations, rigging, and you are actually given a lot of freedom to experiment with your skills in a smaller company, because the founders of the smaller company want people to explore a lot of stuff, because it's eventually helpful for them, right? One person doing multiple things is obviously helpful, right? But remaining in that one domain or one category. The game designers obviously design the games, write documentations, but they also are useful when there is a lot of research to be done, right? So a lot of research work is given to game designers. A lot of production, the management, the project tracking is given to game designers. So nobody expects you to jump from one domain to another, but you are given a lot of work in that one domain in a smaller company compared to a bigger company. Obviously, bigger company you have just one specific role. Like if you everybody dreams to work in Ubisoft or Rockstar. At this point of time, if you are very young, I would recommend not to go to the bigger companies, because when you go to a bigger company, you have one specific role. Like I know people who are working in a smaller company and then they jumped into bigger company and they ended up doing one simple task all their day, like complete day. They just focused on one porting of a bigger game, just to port it into some other platform. That's it. Day in day out, they're just doing that one thing. They're not learning anything, they're not innovating anything. So I would suggest, if you want to work for bigger gaming companies, that would be um, when you are pretty experienced in the industry. How much money can you make on gaming? Unlimited. It just depends on how you know if you make a game which is like super successful, you can earn. It probably companies have made billions in games, so there's no limit to it. So I'm a civil engineer. I learned some of the 3D software which are used in civil, but if I st- want to start 3D artist, can I join the gaming industry? Yes, you can, 100%. In gaming industry for 3D specifically, there are two to three categories. People just look for 3D modelers, right? People who can just model 3D elements. Then they look for people who can animate those models. right? So using rigging, you can animate those models. If you have that skill, you are welcome in the industry. The third category is texturing. People only look for people who can texture these 3D models, right? So if you just pick up these tools, Maya, 3D Max, Blender, and polish it, and build your skills to fit those three categories, people would be happy to take you in. In terms of gaming devs, how much money they make versus other devs, I don't know about the other devs, but like I said, gaming you can make a lot of money. Do you think games just built for India can work? There are games which are built for India specifically, which are making millions of dollars. MPL is making millions of dollars. Ludo King is making $1 million. There are a lot of games which are Winzo as a platform is doing great. Nazara, on the other hand, have multiple channels which are making money for India market. So there are a lot of games which are making money in India. Uh, just to give you an example, PUBG alone in 2019 they gave us a report that PUBG on iOS platform in India alone made around $100 million from India itself in 1 year. If a game like PUBG can make you know money from India, it just proves that the game needs to be good, the engagement needs to be good. India is still a paying country, right? Please explain how to become tester in very first steps. Uh, I'll get to that when I talk about all the four domains. I did BCA and I'm good in C++. Now I'm confused in which field I would go after 2 years. That what would be my salary with good gaming experience? Please tell me. Um, I know this is one of the concerns that people have about the salaries, but I would recommend if you are, you know, only uh, coming in gaming industry for the sake of making money, I would recommend not to do that because there's a lot of uh, it looks it is glorified a lot, but at the same time it is there's a lot of struggle in gaming, right? So it's not that easy. If you are really passionate about creating games, only then get into the gaming industry. But if you just start like considering your background, you can start as a game programmer. In 2 years, you probably would end up making say around 35 to 50,000, depending on your skill. 3D artists necessary learn Unreal for good growth are not necessary. I know that I'm suitable for the 3D art person, but now I'm 25 years old and civil engineer field where I want to move to. I was referring to by playing games. By playing games, of course you can. You know people who are streaming games right now. I am from a non-IT background. Can I make a career? Yes, you can. 100%. I'm a game tester now, but I'm confused in between game designer or game programmer. What should I become? How should I find my area of interest? Like I said, you need to figure out. There's just one thing that I can say that uh, even I thought when I wanted to get into the industry. One simple thing: F- uh, choose the field that you would be comfortable working in, even 20 years later. Just just figure out. All right, guys, continuing. As I mentioned, there are four domains, right? Let's start with the programming. If you want to become a game programmer, firstly, nobody looks at your certificates. Nobody looks at your degree. All they care in gaming industry in India is how good you are in that specific tool that they are working on. If the company is working on Unity and you have created prototypes or demos of your own in Unity, which are great, people can quickly hire you. That nobody is interested in which college you went to or which degree you have. Right? If a company is working on Unreal Engine and if you have created a great prototype or demo on Unreal and you approach the company and if they have the openings, you would be hired, right? Just to get started, like I mentioned, there's no need to focus on the degree aspect of it. But for yourself to have a good knowledge, have a good basic knowledge of stuff, what you can do is after 10th or 12th probably you can get into the streams like BCA, Bachelor of Computer Applications. You can do BSc computers engineering, as a graduation, as a degree, right? When I say there is no need for degree, it doesn't mean that I'm saying there's no need to do graduation. Graduation is very important. It helps you grow faster in the industry. It helps you with a lot of things, uh, the interpersonal skills which you wouldn't learn otherwise. Uh, Being in the college, being in the people, being within the people of your age, of your mindset, talking to them about ideas and a lot of stuff. So you learn a lot of interpersonal skills with these people, and that is why graduation is important. Um, uh, a fear of talking with people, in front of people, giving seminars. There are a lot of things that you learn. Time management, when you when you're supposed to submit assignments at the last moment, uh, you know people management, when you are supposed to arrange events within the college. So there are a lot of things, and a number of things that you can learn while you're doing college, graduation, etc. And that is why it's also important. But if you want to become a game programmer, and if you ask me a straightforward line, a path, I would say do after 12th, do any of these things: BCA engineering, BSc computers, um, you know anything which has a programming basic to it. uh, in engineering, you are obviously taught object oriented programming concepts, which helps you build the base of your programming skills, right? And that is why it is important. And while you're doing that graduation, let's say it's 3 to 4 years, right? While you're doing that graduation, learn self learn programming, game programming, probably on Unity or Unreal. You should follow Unity because Unity is huge in India. There are not many companies who are working on Unreal as of now, and that is why I say it's very important that you know Unity. So self learn Unity, work on Unity, create prototypes, demos, and simultaneously create a portfolio, which has, like, say, when I say portfolio, you can just create a simple web page, a domain name with your profile. Talks about you, and then it talks about what are your skills, and it also has few demos that you have created. Just one single web page with everything about you and your prototypes is a deal sealer for you. You just have to apply to companies once you finish the graduation in that particular field, where you have the basic of all those programming concepts, and on the other side you are self-learning with, on YouTube or Udemy, buying smaller courses, doing Coursera courses, or probably even learning simple tools, simple concepts in a local institute around you, where you just spend, say, a few $1,000 and you learn those things in a month or two. Do these kind of courses. Again, there's Unity Learn, which is like an online portal where you can learn it, right? There are a lot of sessions out there which you can attend and learn. You get certified, you get certificates from Unity itself, right? And that is helpful. So do that, do self learning, and then eventually create a portfolio and approach companies. Try getting into the industry this way if you want to become a game programmer. Similarly, if you want to become a game artist, you don't need to do engineering or BCA or BSc or whatever. The best thing to do is doing BFA, which is Bachelor's of Fine Arts, where you get to learn the basics of art, right? The anatomy, the simple pencil drawings, classic drawings, figuring out the environment, the color schemes, and everything. The basics of it, the basics of art. Doing graduation as a BFA student will help you build your base, right? Similar to programming, when I say graduation, you have 3 to 4 years to experiment with yourself. In BFA, you have these 3 years, 3 to 4 years. You can self learn the tools. In gaming industry, there are 4 to 5 core art tools that are required. The skill set: 3D Max, Maya, Blender, Photoshop. Right. If you in these 3 years, if you just consistently work on polishing your skills on these 4 tools, you can easily create a great portfolio. But you need to decide what you want to become, right? You can't do everything in art. You can either become a 2D artist who only focuses on 2D characters and 2D environment. You can either become a 3D modeler, where you only create the 3D models. You can become a 3D animator who can create animations out of those 3D models, or you can become a texture artist who can, probably do the art textures for those 3D models that the modeler has created. So you need to figure that out and polish your skills according to that, and then eventually create a portfolio just like what you did in the programming side. But this portfolio would be different because you can use ArtStation or Behance to put out your uh, artwork, right? So you create that one link of your own, the portfolio, and put out the best work out there, right? Along with this, you can also use Instagram as a platform to put out your artwork, gather some following over there, right? So you can also show that to the employer. So this kind of a portfolio is very useful for a game artist. So take this an approach when you're graduated in BFA. Probably you should go to a, yeah, a company with that portfolio, and you can easily crack that interview as well. For game designers work is majorly on the um, on the literature side, uh, on the communication side, on the documentation side. The better you write, uh, there are higher chances that you get hired, right? uh, so everything which is around media, uh, around history, mythology, um, you should do your college. If you just focus on game design particularly, you can choose that field, right? And if not, there are few game design colleges in India which are very, very known. One of them I know is National Institute of Design. Now, this wouldn't teach you game design specifically. They'll teach you design as a concept, right? And design is a superset of game design, right? When you understand design, you can easily, start learning about game design. Design is the basic, and then you can, explore more into the depth how game design is done. So these are a few institutes that you can go to. I'm not sure about the colleges, gaming institutes, which are there right now in India. A lot of them are just fake who talk about game design, but they offer you courses that have 3D tools into it, which are of no use for a game designer, to be honest, right? But for a game designer, there are three main skills that you need to polish, and you can do that in any which way you want. Either reading books, either consuming information from the internet, watching web series, movies, a lot of things. Observation is a skill. So the three things that are important. The very first thing is visualization, for which observation is one of the key. You need to be good at visualizing things, different worlds, um, you know, characters, their backstories. Making up things is very important. And how do you do this? Is, when you try to consume a lot of information and entertainment, then only you can visualize a lot of stuff. Just for an example, let's say if you are working as a game designer and the company tells you to create a game on Greek mythology, which you have never heard of, then it's a problem, right? So you need to be aware of things. You need to learn a lot of things around it. You just need to keep on learning about stories. Um, that's one thing. Second one is documentation. You need to be very good at documenting stuff. So a game designer's job is to figure out or design a game in his head, right? So I have designed a game completely in my head, but that's complete my thought. How does a artist understands what am I thinking about the game? It's only through a document that we call as a GDT, and my skill should be to to document that whole game that I have in my head onto the document in such a way that the artist just reads the document and he understands what I want to say. So your documentation skills should be really good. The third thing is communication, right? You need to have a very fluent communication, and you should be good at communicating with people. Uh, Very diplomatic, but because you act like a project coordinator, like a game producer who needs to figure out solutions to every problems, right? You need to convey messages to the team of programming and the art, right? You act as a middleman between this whole structure. So you have to have that good communication skills. So that's about the game designers. The last category is game testing. Now, if you want to become a game tester, uh, for basic knowledge, you should do some, testing courses, like basic testing courses, at least to understand the jargons, the language that the testers specifically speak. What are test repos, what are test cases, what is functional testing, what is regression testing. All these things are the languages that game testers use, and you come to know about this when you do these courses, these smaller courses. So there are courses on manual testing, there are courses on automated testing, but automated testing is not a part of games as of yet, right? It's only manual testing where there is a part which is a functional testing, where you only test about the functions within the game, and there is regression testing, which is like playing around a lot with the device. Like, just for an example, if I'm testing a mobile game, and if I do, if I just keep on tapping my finger around on the phone, in any order, and then creating bugs and then figuring out bugs by doing that, right? That's regression testing. So you do a lot of random stuff to figure out bugs into it. So there are multiple things into it, but these all smaller things you learn when you do smaller courses in testing. You also get certificates for that, and that is probably one of the proof that the employer can understand that, okay, probably he understands what testing is, right? And to get into the company, in India, there are a lot of campus drives that happen. Like, bigger gaming companies need a lot of game testers, because they hire game testers in a bunch. So there are drives that happen. There are open walk-in interviews for game testers that happen. You just need to figure out the opportunities. I wouldn't say it's easy to get into a company as a game tester. It's quite difficult because not a lot. Like, if I say there are 100 companies in India in gaming, probably 30 companies are hiring game testers. Not everybody is doing that, but one plus point is the bigger gaming companies hire game testers at a bigger level. So you need to figure that out. As far as qualification is concerned, anybody can become a game tester. Also, for all these four domains, like I just mentioned, the straightforward path on in all these four categories. But even if you have done anything else, you still can become one of these. If you just put in some efforts, right? Let's say, for an example, if you are a mechanical engineer, if you're already done mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, you are an engineer, you have even worked for a company as a mechanical engineer for 2 years, and now you think that you want to become a game programmer, you still can become a game programmer. The concept is, like, you just need to know uh, the basics of programming, like everything that I mentioned about self-learning and creating portfolio. If you do that in this after this experience as well, you can be hired. Like, if you have 2 years of experience working as a mechanical engineer, but simultaneously you're building a portfolio as a game programmer by self-learning and doing all those Udemy courses, you can still crack a job as a game programmer in gaming industry. It The employers, the companies are only, they only care about the skill set, not about not your background. They only require the skill set. You need to show your work, get hired. That is it. That's the ultimate goal. So that's the overall agenda of the session. I tried to clear as much as I can. um, I'll just quickly take few last questions that I have here before we wind this up. Can I make a career? Yes, I'm a okay. Uh, I want to become a game developer. So which subject in 11th class? See again, like just watch this video again. You'll get your answer. Sir, I badly want to join gaming industry. Which gaming company should I go for? Like I mentioned, you need to first identify your skill. You just can't find a company and just go, it'll take me as a job. Just identify what skills do you have and then work on that skill and then get hired. How many per day hours people have to work? Is it like a job? Of course, it's like a job. It's like a typical IT job, but fun. Can I make multiplayer game for free in Unreal Engine? You can, but you can't do it for free, I think, because for a multiplayer game you will require some server side stuff that you need to spend on. So diploma in computer science after 12th is a good idea to get into game development, not just for money in game development but the love and affection and interest. 100% a great path to get into the industry. When will streaming start? Yeah, Devendra, the stream is already live. If you are facing any issues you can head to YouTube as well. When India is going to develop its own MOBA game, it's our dream to see other countries coming together and competing on several games developed by India starting from now. Just get into the industry, just work on a MOBA game. I think in 5 years you will crack it. That's what I can say. Everybody in India is working on great games in isolation. We don't need to speak about it out loud. We are working on great stuff already. There are more than 500 gaming companies in India, and everybody is doing fantastic job. We still are a few years behind behind US and China, but um, we will overtake them in next 5 years for sure. India is going to be one of the biggest in mobile gaming industry globally for sure. I'm not sure about the PC and console sector because that's not the real Indian audience. The real Indian audience is the tier 2 and tier 3 city people with lower end mobile phone devices, right? So that is what everybody is keen interested in making games on. Best way to learn, internship or online? Internship, I'll obviously say, but as of now, because of COVID, I am not sure how many people are getting interns in physical offices. Now, we, even we are avoiding people to work in physical spaces. Only the core team works together. Rest everybody is working from home. But when you do an internship, it's very important if you work in a physical environment in internships. Otherwise, you'll only learn 50% of what you could have learned. All right, guys, if you don't have any more questions, we can wrap this up. I tried to cover all the four categories, all the four domains. Just figure out which domain suits you. If you want more information on this, visit my YouTube channel. It's Underdog Vaibhav Chavan. Just type in my name and just put Underdog after it. You'll find my channel. There are more than 300 videos on it about game development and starting your career in the gaming industry. Um, and there are videos on all the topics that you have questions on. So go there, check out the channel, subscribe to the channel, and watch, binge watch, I would say. Um, if we don't have if we have anything else, thank you sir for clearing out doubts. It's totally worth it to join this session. Thanks a lot, Vikas. Um, yeah. Um, Again, after these four domain, like I only mentioned these four domains, but I at the start I said that there are multiple, you know, uh, options that you can still go. I'll just name a few for you for better understanding. You can become a music artist, a sound creator, music composer in gaming industry. We need people who can create sounds, right? SFX and background tracks. You can become that. You can become a publishing manager who is only responsible for publishing games. You can become someone from the analytics team who just focuses on what games are in the rankings, which are the top games this uh, today, which game is doing um, good, why is it doing good, which country is it doing good, and all that stuff. This information basically helps the company build great games. Also, if you are an analytic guy in a company, you have a track of all the data of your own games as well. Then there is a copywriter who only focuses on the copy. When I say copy, it's basically the text that you see in the game. The job of this person is to only focus on the text, correct it if required, um, or write it on their own. The dialogues, the narrative dialogues, so you can become the writer. There are a lot of things that you can do in gaming as a job. But only when you get into the industry with these four broad categories, then you can figure out the other stuff. Other than that, I think just work on your skills and just build your portfolio. Portfolio is very important in any of these domains. You can't create a portfolio as a game tester as such, but you can at least share. If you are a game tester and if you say that I can't, as a game tester, I can't create a portfolio, no, that's not true. If you can at least create or dissect a game which is already there, or just for the sake of understanding, create a fake bug list with test cases into it, and just for this sake of um, helping the employer understand that you know stuff, you can do that, and you can just show it that it's an example, it's a demo thing that I've created. I want to become a game artist, so what can I do first? In first is institute or second is institute for learning tools, please get and do first is institute or second is institute for learning tools, please. I'm not sure what the question is, uh, but you should basically try doing smaller courses that can teach you the tools. I keep on repeating these tools: Maya, 3D Max, Blender, and Photoshop. There are a few more, but they are complex. Nobody will teach you that here. Probably you should just experiment with those tools. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for being in this session. I was just trying to clear up some misunderstandings regarding the career paths in India. A lot of people are confused how to start, and like a couple of questions here that we got in this session, that people just asking random questions like, I want to become a game developer, which company should I choose? What is game development for you? You need to figure out what is the skill set. Are you talking about game art? Are you talking about game design, game programming, game testing? What? You need to be very sure about that first before jumping into which company and all that stuff, right? So that is it. One more thing, what do you think about metaverse and NFT? Will this boom gaming sector? I would say we still have a lot of time to figure that out. I'm not sure about metaverse, but I think NFT is something that every gaming company would include in games in next 2 years. It's too early to predict that, but let's just give it some time to, you know, for us to figure that out. Um, that's it, guys. Thank you once again. Thank you once again for joining this session. I hope this session helped you um, to understand the basics of it. We'll see you soon in the next sessions. Till then, Keep following Crater, keep watching Crater, because they have a lot of people who talk about various different topics on their platform. You can go check out their homepage and the speakers and the sessions over here. It's all free. Just join, watch the sessions, and learn. Thank you once again. Also, do subscribe my channel. Go to YouTube and subscribe it. Bye bye. It was fun.